First of all praises due to the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in the name of Jesus Christ. It is through him that I am being sent with this truth to the whole world as a chance for redemption for all. Walter Plecker. Getting to it, folks. The man of the hour. Racial integrity. Right at the beginning of the 20th century, the 1900s, Colonel Saunders, or AKA Walter Plecker, or whatever his name was, they all use fake names and identities and masks and switch to hit the indigenous people with their Nazi tactics. But nonetheless, racial integrity began. Walter Plecker, through the state of Virginia, initiated the Public Health Department. Within this department, they began to collect names, basically. And for every person that was born, a name was collected. And this began the birth certificate era. Not only were these birth certificates a form of witchcraft, they were also a form of collecting identities to later be distributed to foreign invaders. In order to legally disenfranchise the Afro-Americans and take their birthright, which was given to them directly from God, they also needed to assume their identity. So, when we spoke about the railroad, what we actually were speaking about was a device they used to initiate genocide. Whenever they would find small communities that were not mapped or nationally known, a slaughter came through, genocide. Similar to Wilmington, similar to Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. And what they would do in true Nazi fashion was extradite the bodies from the crime scenes using these railroads. I introduced things such as the railroads to lead to this 20th century information I'm about to reveal. The racial integrity era. The beginning of the Holocaust of the Afro-Americans. The beginning of the complete disenfranchisement of God's children. Stealing their identity, their hope, and their freedom. But once again, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob has sent me with this truth so that people can know how we fell from grace. For people can know that we should return back to the Creator, to the Father of Jesus Christ. And through Jesus Christ, this truth will be known. All right, reading time. I'm getting a little better at this. Hopefully, my talents and skill will increase exponentially. But let's go. I'm almost ready to take this show to YouTube. But I'm over here in this Facebook realm, in the meta verse, the death verse, warming my chops or whatever. Walter A. Plecker. Here we go on this guy again. Walter A. Plecker. I'm going to reintroduce him because this is the guy. This is the devil himself that I am here to expose. Walter Plecker was born on this date in 1861. He was a white American physician, public health advocate, and racial separatist. Walter Plecker was born in Augusta County, Virginia. the son of a Confederate soldier and raised by a black nanny. Raised by nanny, huh? Sent to Staunton, Virginia as a boy, he graduated from Hoover Military Academy. He had military connections, I'll say that much. In 1880. Maybe, perhaps, he was involved in the military experiments that occurred beneath the prison industrial complex. The timeline all is starting to come together. Hoover Military Academy in 1880 and obtained a medical degree from the University of Maryland in 1885. He was a devout Presbyterian, and throughout his life, he supported the denomination's fundamentalist Southern branch, funding missionaries who believed, like he later came to, that God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for racial intermixing. That's neither here nor there. Pluckert moved to Hampton, Virginia in 1892, and before his mother's death in 1915, worked with women of all races and became known for his active interest in obstetrics and public issues. Pluckert educated midwives, invented a home incubator, and prescribed home remedies for infants. His techniques are credited with almost a 50% decline in birthing deaths for black mothers during this period. Okay. Discernment should be activating. They speak double talk. Most of the time, they mean exactly the opposite of what they say. Let's take Jay Prince, for instance. He issues out warnings by speaking about peace. When he actually means, if you do not comply, there will be war. I'm just using him as an example because, we from the hood. His techniques are credited with almost a 50% decline in birthing deaths of blacks, when the true verbiage should be incline. And once again, why black mothers was he so concerned with? What he was doing was actually eugenics. He was developing genetic weapons of mass destruction, but he wanted to apply them mostly to the Afro-Americans. So during his behind-the-scene era, he came up with various forms of birth control. Excuse me. He came up with various forms of birth control. Fast forward to 2022, his eugenic tactics are still being performed to this moment with viruses that genetically identify, isolate, and destroy certain racial groups. Hence, racial integrity. Racial integrity was really code word for racial holocaust. But first, as many Afro-Americans as possible needed to be identified and located. He became the public health officer for Elizabeth County in 1902. In 1912, Pluckert became the first registrar of Virginia's newly created Bureau of Statistics. We're going to stop right there. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Today, basically, I wanted to point out the beginning of birth certificates, the beginning of the Department of Public Health, or whatever it's called in your neck of the woods, and the reasoning behind birth certificates and the demonic democratic institutions' wicked plans. That's it. Until next time, Focus Daily, folks.